So Adam and I are just about to hit this frozen waterfall, and because it's very icy, it's very important to have the appropriate footwear so that you're safe. So whenever you're on a frozen waterfall, always get these ice cleats and make sure to apply them properly to your footwear. So I'll show you how I put these on. So I always put it on the front first, and then grab that back part and pull it over to the back. Make sure it's really tight and that you've got them on nice and secure. And there you go. I'm all set. Go and do some frozen waterfall photography. So into the frozen canyon we ventured. His royal grumpiness got busy immediately, and he was super excited because he'd never seen this place before. And to see it for the very first time under conditions like this, well, I think it's fair to say, oh, that's juicy. So I brought Adam to this little grotto, and this is a place that I found in the springtime, just as one of those drive-bys on the road. And we checked these temperatures overnight, which recently have been about -10 Celsius. So I reckoned that this might actually be quite pretty, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to work our way up the stream, see if we can somehow figure out a composition that gets the most out of these beautiful ice chandeliers. It's a little bit tricky though, because the further back you get, this log kind of cuts across the composition, which isn't that pretty. I might compose a vertical and try and get that whole column with these in the foreground. Let's see how it looks. So this was the first shot of the day, and I pretty much consider this a practice shot. We were a little bit pushed for time because the second that we arrived and started to find shapes in the ice and started to take those first few shots, the snow started to come down very, very quickly, and it was beginning to cover things up. So rather than devote all my time and energy to this one composition to refine it, I thought I'd better just kind of walk around the scene and see if I could find something a little bit more striking, a little bit more impressive. And I eventually did find that, but this is not bad for a first shot. Whoa! I just had a full-blown photogasm because I absolutely love semi-frozen waterfalls. It's kind of my thing. And on Vancouver Island, when you get these big freezes, and they always seem to happen mid-February every 4 years. On Vancouver Island, when you get these, this is what you have everywhere, and this is the week of the frozen waterfall, so I'm pretty much committed to doing this all week. But anyway, I've just seen another shot, and within this canyon it seems like the best shots are verticals. I love that wall of ice and moss together in the same shot, so I'm going to back up here now, go vertical, see if I can compose a really nice shot with the water flowing in from the left. So with the second shot of the day, I was starting to get a little bit more of an eye for the place, but again I was pushed for time. That snow was coming down rapidly. But I love these details. I just love that prismatic quality that you get in the ice, but I knew that I could find a better composition. And as I was filming this clip of Adam, I looked up and I noticed that tree behind him with the roots all wrapped in ice, and I thought, oh, let's have a look at this business. I just can't get enough of details like this, where you've got like basically the roots of a tree completely encapsulated in ice. It's trapped, and icicles just dripping down. It just tells that story of the motion of water and the change in the seasons. I really love these shapes in the ice, and I like how the dusting of the snow is settling on top of it. But I much prefer it when it's like this, kind of semi-frozen, and you can still see the water moving through the ice underneath. When it's completely frozen and it's just a mass of white, it's nowhere near as beautiful or as interesting. Well, as I moved up the canyon and got behind that moss-covered tree, I finally found it. I found my composition. And those fangs that you see that were forming under that log just looked like the teeth of some giant sea creature. Just tremendous. I think the reason why I love ice so much is because it's a phenomenon. It's a demonstration of how powerful nature can be in that it changes the landscape completely and usually makes it far more beautiful. It's also nature's way of taking a photograph. It's a moment frozen in time that won't last forever and might not even last the night. It's almost like having your own pause button on reality. Time slows down long enough for the photographer to capture these fleeting works of art that are never quite rendered the exact same way again.
So if you're ever lucky enough to get conditions like these, whether it be ice, whether it be snow, or whether it be a combination of the two like this place, the top tip that I can give you is to always underexpose your shot. Now you can use your histogram, you can look at what the light meter reading is telling you on the camera, but I would advise that you don't trust that. Always err on the side of caution, and if your camera is saying, okay, you've got the exposure right, but always just remember to take that shot that's ever so slightly darker, just to be on the safe side, and then you just don't have to worry about blowing out your highlight on these gorgeous bright white parts of your image. Oh my god, I've just seen some ice up there. Now I'm tempted to go upriver and explore. Decisions. Very juicy.
Well, I did check out the upper falls, but it was too dangerous to reach the top, and the snow was beginning to cover everything in this big blanket of white. We'd only been here for less than 2 hours, but I was already on my 700th Sony battery, as they do boast the power capacity of kitten burps.
So the thing that we've learned here is that with this snow that's begun to settle on the ice, it's getting a lot more tricky to both move around, like it's super slippery. Snow on ice, fresh snow, is the slipperiest thing ever. And then it's also difficult to photograph because now we've lost quite a lot of the detail and the way that the light hits the ice because now it's covered in snow. So I'm finding it quite tricky to now find compositions that half an hour ago were quite obvious and now they're starting to disappear. I'm gonna have to get working faster and try and get more out of this before it's completely unphotographable, if there is such a word.
I think what I like about this shot is that it shows how winter invades a landscape. The way that ice takes over and forms in all directions. I think it's kind of like a living thing that appears to grow on its host like an alien invader. Well, by now the snow was beginning to make this place a bit tricky to either shoot or move around in, so it's definitely time to move on to the next shooting location, which was the magic of Upana Caves, where I'd had a shot in mind for years. So we got back in the blunderbuss and drove from the middle of nowhere to nowhere in particular, and by now we were both definitely in need of a thunder throne.
The best thing about winter is that these wilderness toilets don't smell too bad. The cold keeps the smell down, but in the summer, oh, you do not want to be going in these things if you can help it. Let's get up here. Oh dear.
It actually wasn't that bad, and it didn't even really pong that much, but I am glad that I brought my own shit tickets. So we hit the trail to Upana Caves and headed straight for the main cave with its amazing karst topography, which creates these spectacular rock formations. Once again, the ice really added a new layer of beauty to the cave, but it also came with its own perilous dangers, as my bum was about to find out. Descending those cold stone steps of the main cave feels a little bit like descending into a dark and dangerous dimension.
Why is icy down here?
Oh God, look at the bounce off that. You know it's a hard fall when you bounce back off of a rock hard stone. Oh, that was brutal. I tell you what though, my ego was bruised, but it was my hand that I actually hurt, not my batty.
Well, that was extremely embarrassing. I wiped out once again. I promise I did not plan to do that. It bloody hurt. So the plan with this is these amazing karst formations
are the subject. You know, this beautiful topography that we've got here. We're going to try and do a little bit of light painting, but it's going to be better if we come back when it's either blue hour or dark, so that we can really control all of the light. It's quite difficult to shoot this scene when you've got this big white heart-shaped hole in the middle of the frame, and then everything else is like pure black. So we brought some light. We can do some light painting. I just think it's a little bit too early to get that done. But what a gorgeous scene. I mean, look at all this ice. That's the ice that I wiped out on. But I've been here in the summer before, but never in the winter. And now, because it's winter and it's freezing, we've got these beautiful columns of ice that are just, you know, pouring down from the side there. It's water that's melted and frozen and melted and frozen, and some really cool icicles up there too. So that just adds to the composition. And yeah, I hope that when it gets a little bit darker, we can control the light and get exactly what we want.
So here's a very rough and ready shot of the inside of the cave during daylight, just so that I can show you what it is that I'm dealing with and what I'm trying to do here. By coming back at night, I can completely eliminate the problem of those very complicated looking trees in the background, and I can get very creative with light painting. So we decided to kill some time and check out some of the other caves. And did I mention just how much I love ice and moss together? I think I did. Both myself and Sir Grumpalot just could not resist stopping to take a quick shot of this combination of absolute deliciousness. Well, I have to confess that after taking that shot, I suffered yet another fall on the ice, and it really took it out of me. So by the time we got down to this lowest cave here, I just was not feeling it at all. So I just had a break, let Adam get his shots, and just was killing time until it got dark. And if you are a landscape photographer too, I'm pretty sure you'll also know the value of patience in this game, because just as soon as it began to get a little bit dark, look what we found.
Okay, so what we're doing here, we found these really fascinating stalagmites of ice which form after the water that drips off of the ceiling freezes and gradually builds up. And it's always nice to backlight these. And if you can't backlight them with natural light, then you've got to cheat. And so we brought some LED panels to put behind it. And it doesn't look so great on the video because it's totally blown out, but when you're shooting stills, you can bracket and get really close up and get some gorgeous texture and capture all the dynamic range that you need. So what we're doing right now is backlighting it and shooting with super wide lenses into it and getting some of the cave entrance. What are you doing with your shot? Are you including the cave, or is it just the stalagmites?
No, I'm going to include the whole cave entrance because it's a really nice contrast, kind of a bluey contrast.
Yeah.
And you can see the icicles at the entrance are all backlit. So
right.
It's just that friggin' sign. But
yeah, we've got to clone out that sign. But Adam just banged his head really hard, so that means he's now down to only 18 brain cells. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to cope. How are you feeling?
Oh.
There's no blood though.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're all right.
Ooh, it hurt to watch.
So with that shot in the bag, now it was time to go back to the main cave and have a crack at capturing that shot that I have been after for years.
Okay, so we waited for night time. It's now dark, quite obviously, and we spent about an hour trying this composition with backlight on this beautiful shape here, and we've got quite creative with lighting it from different angles and doing light painting. I think it's probably going to be a bit more juicy. What do you think?
Juicy.
And it was juicy. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. I just love it when I plan a shoot and it all comes together to create the shot that I had in my mind.
There was so much juice in this shot that I'd even forgotten that I'd popped a grape when I fell on my ass. In fact, the only thing that would have made it better is if I'd been wearing a Fototripper t-shirt, which you can purchase right now in my merch store underneath this video. Yes. Seriously though, it's amazing what you can achieve with a little bit of patience, some planning, and some very affordable lights. I hope you enjoyed this video. I work really hard to create this content and hopefully it inspires you in some way. Let me know what you think in the comments, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.